Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Visit my first ever channel and my first ever video. Woo! I had some things in mind that I wanted to post about first, but I felt an urge to kind of share with you guys my story. Out of all of the ideas that I had in my mind to start up this YouTube channel, really felt the urgency to share with you guys my story, because this is who I am and this is the reason why I've joined YouTube, and I wanted to be able to be creative and to be able to share some positivity and hope for the world that's so dark right now, especially on YouTube. So I guess I will go ahead and start telling you guys my story. So I really don't want to age myself here. Anyways, I'm just gonna do it. So 2010, I graduated high school. And when anybody graduates high school, you get family members, you get friends who are like, what are your plans? What are you gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I didn't really want to go to college, nor did I feel the urgency to continue my education out of high school. So my answer to them was always, I don't know, maybe I'll do something later on, but I really don't want to go to college. Maybe I'll join an internship, who knows? But I felt like I just did not want to go to college. I just didn't want to go. A couple of months passed after I graduated high school. I wanted to do something. I didn't want to go to college, but I wanted to do something. I wanted to grow. I wanted to grow as a believer in Jesus, and I wanted to grow as a person and as a human being, to adventure out and explore different opportunities that were available to me. So I actually started looking at getting into internships and looking into like Bible colleges and internships and things that were close by in California. Months on end, I was just like searching, and my grandmother, who has recently passed, I will see her again soon. She's a lot of the reason why I have this story, actually. And a lot of you don't know the full story. You guys know, some of you guys know like the extent of like what happened about 2 years ago that I'm not going to go into yet because I want to tell you guys my full story. But not everybody knows the full on story and like the full on testimony like of how good God is. Anyways, my grandmother, going back to her, she introduced me to this Bible college that was in Oklahoma, and I was like, okay grandma, like thanks, like, but I don't want to like leave the state. Like, my family's in California, my life is in California, everything that I've known is in California. You know, I haven't gone anywhere else. She really prompted me. She was like, look, she was just like, experience different things, you'll be able to grow, a lot more opportunities. And not only that, but like, you know, I'm only a 2 to 3 hour drive away. I mean, yes, it's still a long drive, but trying to tell the Lord that I didn't want to go to Oklahoma and I could find something closer to home. I'm telling you guys right now, like, it was like sign after sign after sign. I had never seen so many Oklahoma license plates in California that year. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like, or either that or I just never really paid attention. Coincidence, I don't know. Whatever you guys believe, I truly believe like God was trying to show me signs that he wanted to send me to Oklahoma. So after all these signs had happened and I finally convinced myself I was gonna go, I signed up for this Bible college for 2 years. Of course, my family was like super excited, but a lot of people were like, why Oklahoma? I'm like, that's a good question. I don't even know why Oklahoma, but I'm just doing what I think the Holy Spirit is telling me to do. So I signed up to go to Bible college, and my grandmother and my father and my family members had got me together and got my stuff together, and we took a trip to Oklahoma. I spent 2 years going to Bible college. And I did this because I felt like I wanted to be a children's pastor. I didn't know what I wanted. I loved worship. I've always been in worship, but wanted to focus on pastoral stuff. I wanted to focus on ministry. I wanted to focus on how to serve people and how to talk to people better. So I joined the pastoral portion of the Bible college. I went through that for 2 years. I did a lot of growth. I did a lot of faith challenges. I served a lot in a lot of ministries, and I grew a lot, and it actually connected me with a church in Oklahoma. I was heavily involved in the children's ministry. After 2 years, I stuck with this children's ministry, and I stuck by it. I joined the worship team. I got involved. I became an intern for the children's ministry. I believe this was because I left in 2011. I left Oklahoma in 2011. So 2 years, this would have been like 2012, almost 2013. 2013 gets here, and I'm still serving the children's ministry. I felt this void because here I am, I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do. I was in children's ministry, was living on my own, I was working full time, and I thought I was always supposed to do, or at least was going to go forward with being involved in children's ministry. This void and emptiness that there was something missing. There was just something going on inside of me that was like, it's not what I felt like I was supposed to be doing. In that time, I was battling myself. I was battling with, what am I doing? Why do I feel so empty? Like I thought this is what I was supposed to do, It was like your whole purpose felt like it was ripped away from me. There is more out of life than just one specific thing that I'm supposed to do. This is where I had a friend who told me that she was going to sign up to go to a 4-year university called Oral Roberts University. And she told me all about it, how excited she was about going. And of course, I was excited for her and everything, but it kind of raised a curiosity in me. It raised up something like, oh, well, she's continuing to do more things, why can't I? But I don't want to go to college. I told myself from the beginning, I don't want to go to college. I don't want to go to college. And if I did go to college, what would I go for? I already have a theology study under my belt, I began to develop this passion of mine that I've always had since I was a little girl. And this passion of mine rose back up for theater. I had always been involved in productions since I was a little girl, and I mean, a lot of them were church productions, and then I got into a lot of extra theater stuff, especially in high school, where I was part of the drama team, and I was in shows from sophomore year to senior year. And that's where I was like, I love theater, I feel like that's a part of me that will never go away, and of course, then after that I graduated, I was like, I really want to focus on ministry. Anyways, so theater was opening the doors to me again. It was like this whole new world, this whole new passion. It's been there, but it never really sunk in until 2013. I was like, well, I can get theater training under my belt anywhere. I mean, there's so many acting opportunities that you can get involved with. You could take acting classes, voice classes, lessons outside of a university. So as I was debating, this is what I really wanted to do, if theater was really what God wanted me to do, God brought the story of Joseph. If you don't know the story of Joseph, it's back in Genesis, the book of Genesis, and God gave Joseph the gift to interpret dreams. He gave dreams to Joseph. He was able to interpret these dreams. He was able to interpret Pharaoh's dreams that he had taunted him for years upon years. God kind of told me, I gave you a gift and I want you to use it. But there's nothing godly or righteous. It's probably not what I had thought that God would want me to do because of how secular, you know, the theater world can be. But then I kept getting it over and over and over again. It was just like, I gave you a gift. I gave you a gift. What are you doing with it? And okay, well, what do I do? Like, if this is where you want me to go, what do you want me to do? Oral Roberts University came up in my mind, and I was like, no, God, I don't want to go to a four-year university. I don't want to do it. I've told you from time to time again, I do not want to go to college. I don't want to do it. I was never good at school. And let alone go to a four-year university. I was like, I don't know if it's for me. I don't even know if they'll even accept me. I had a connection through a family member of the director of the theater company at the university. So I was actually friends with her sister and working alongside of her at the children's ministry, and she told me that her sister was the director of the theater program at ORU. And I was like, oh my gosh, how insane is that? She was like, yeah, like you should meet her, like she's in the church productions, and like introduce yourself. Once the church production came around, of course I came up and I introduced myself, and I was like, yeah, I'm still considering on going to ORU. Like I don't know for sure yet. Like I didn't want to, it was, you know, maybe a coincidence that I knew your sister and here you are. You know, maybe you can give me some insider wisdom on what I should do. But that was just my thinking. Like I didn't actually ask her that. So I kind of made a deal with God. I said, if you want me to go to Oral Roberts University, then I need you to do me huge favors. I'm a very stubborn individual. Those of you know that about me. I can be very, very stubborn. And I was very stubborn with God. I've been close to God since I was 16, so for me to be upfront with God and demanding with God wasn't odd of me to do. But I said, okay, I will apply for Oral Roberts University if you can even get me through the doors and get me accepted into this university. I will consider about going. Later on, I got an acceptance from ORU to come be a student at a four-year private university. And you know, private universities are a lot more expensive than regular universities. They are, guys. If you didn't know, there you go. I got my acceptance letter, and that's when I broke down and I was like, I still don't want to go to college, like, and sit through so many gen eds, and biology, and algebra. Listen up. If you want me to go to this college, I knew I wasn't going to be able to go to college without accepting loans because my parents both alone weren't able to provide for me, and I wasn't even able to provide for myself. I was already struggling financially being in Oklahoma anyways. So back to the loans, I knew I had to accept them. I told God, said, okay, God, if you want me to go, and if I go, you are going to pay for it. And I was very stubborn, and I was very demanding, and I was like, hey, if this is what you want, you're paying for this. Like, for every cent, for every loan that I have to take out, like, you are going to pay for it. I got to the university, got into 2013, leaving my own apartments and my roommates that I had and living on my own and quitting my full-time job to go and attend a four-year university. Year after year, from freshman to sophomore to junior year, it was a struggle. And I'm gonna be upfront and honest with you guys. Financially, it was hard. I just didn't have money, and even the loans were barely covering in order to get me food sometimes. Like, and I didn't have a job. I was trying to find little jobs here and there to kind of put food on the table. During fall and spring break, a lot of the times I didn't go home like everybody else did. Everybody was able to go back home, and I just didn't have the money to fly back to California for a week. I didn't have food, and the university's cafeteria wasn't going to be open. Every time I would go back to school, like whether I would come home for Christmas, and a lot of times I came home for Christmas and summer, obviously. When I'd come home for summer and Christmas, it was a struggle to go back to Oklahoma and finish out my 4 years there. I had no money in the bank. And to earn the money that I could to be able to save up and fly back home. But many times I'd come home, and I got this a lot from families, my family members. Got this from some friends that told me, you know, Hope, like, you don't have the money to go. Why are you going? You don't have the money to fly, like to even purchase a flight to get back out there. Like, you should just stay home. Like, you should just find a full-time job at home. I couldn't stand it. I was like, no, like, I made a deal with God, you know, that I know that there's a lot of financial struggles right now, and I'm not going to be able to get there sometimes, but I know God's going to pull through. I know He is. I know He's going to provide my finances, and a lot of the times my loans didn't even cover some of my classes. Like, I just had to keep praying, and there was a lot of times I didn't have the money to go back, and the financial department would be like, well, you aren't done registering because you haven't paid this amount. And I'm like, God's gonna come through with that amount. He is, because I made a deal with God. In my mind, I didn't tell them that. I would show up to class, and I would fly out still, and I would sit in those classes that I had signed up for, and I would believe in faith that I was supposed to be there, and I was supposed to continue out this journey. Many of the times I did that, and I would show up to the financial aid office, and they'd be like, well, you didn't have the money, but now you do. And now you can fully register for classes, and you're good to go. Like, enjoy. And I'm like, really? Where did that money come from? Like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, it must have been, you know, something in the computer that kind of was like a hoax in the computer, a little jump or whatever you call it. I don't know. I remember professors and friends and my roommates always praying for me financially, that God would provide my needs, that God would come through. Like I had mentioned before, you know, during spring and fall break, that I couldn't go home, and I would stay in the dorms. I would stay in the dorms. I would have no food. I would have a fridge and a microwave and a computer to keep me entertained, but I didn't have food. Luckily, I had friends through the church that I had already connected with going to Bible college, that came by and like give me food, and they would take me in sometimes and, you know, make sure I was taken care of. They always took care of me. I was so blessed by all their love and support and all the food that they would give me. They were able to come through every time, and it was amazing. Every time there was a financial hiccup at the financial aid office, it was fixed. It was done by the time I went back. You were able to register for classes now. I'm like, yay! You know, I was able to make extra money by working at the theater scene shop, where you build sets, paint, know how to work tools, power tools, yes, are amazing to know how to use. I will never forget the people that I met in that journey. I got at least to my senior year, and that summer I believe I stayed in Oklahoma. My theater professors had asked me to pray over the theater. They wanted, they got over the theater, prayed over the department, prayed over for my senior year, of all the people that were coming in, and to, you know, be able to have a good, solid year ahead of us. So we did that, and like I said, I had so much support from my professors and my friends and other believers that knew that God was going to come through for me. In my senior year, amazing things happened. So many doors for me learn and grow and become the person I am today, which, you know, I am still growing, I am still learning as everybody is in this world. It got to the point where it was the end of my senior year and it was time to deal with the loans. It was time to budget out the loans. I was so afraid. I was afraid. I was like, time and time again throughout my 4 years, was this the wrong choice? Was this the wrong choice? Did I make the right choice? Am I crazy? Have I lost my mind to get all these loans? And there were a lot. It was a lot of loans. I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. And I didn't know how I was gonna do it. My professors introduced me to getting a job on a cruise ship. Cruise ships are amazing. It's good money and it'll basically pay off your debt in 2-3 years time with working on a cruise ship. And I thought about working on a cruise ship right after graduating just to cover all the financial debt that I was gonna have. The idea of traveling the world, don't get me wrong, I love the idea of experiencing different people, experiencing different cultures, but I also didn't want to live on a boat. I didn't want to live on a boat for 2-3 years, be in a contract where I would live at the very, bottom of a ship just to pay off all my loans. I really just wanted to come home to California. I really wanted to be with my family. I really wanted to get connected with people in California. I didn't want to be gone for another 2-3 years away from my family because I've already been gone since 2011 to basically 2017. I was in Oklahoma for 6 years, away from my family and my relatives. I was like, hey God, like I'm standing on what we agreed upon since my freshman year. It held on to that hope still, even though I was still doubtful and I was still scared, as any person would be, to have so much debt about to hit them. I sat down, I was budgeting out everything. I had told my mom, I'm like, I'm still having to believe that God's gonna come through. I don't remember the exact date this all happened. I graduated in May of 2017. It was in April of 2017 where this all went down. It was about the Friday before I had called my mom and told her, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to financially pay for all these loans. I was scared, but I told her, I was like, and she assured me too, like God's gonna cover me, God's gonna see my faith and see how far I've come for the 4 years of my financial struggles, and God's really gonna come through. It was a Friday, I believe somewhere in April. The next Monday comes around, or was it Tuesday? I don't know if it was a Monday or Tuesday. Anyways, there was an email that was sent out from the president of the university. He basically said, hey guys, like all the seniors, don't miss out on this last chapel. And this was the very, very last chapel. This was the last chapel before I was supposed to graduate. A Wednesday afternoon, very last of my senior year chapel that I was going to attend to, and it was the day before where he emailed saying, okay guys, you don't want to miss this chapel service. All the seniors to dress up really nice and sit together in the front row as the graduating seniors that we were, and to kind of reminisce. And so I dressed up nice and I went to this last chapel. The president gets up on the stage and basically says, a surprise for all the 50th graduating class. I will leave a video up of my graduation commencement. Okay, so he had a surprise for us, and basically what he did was he told us, if you came to ORU, we had everything provided for financially, you'll basically get $1,000 or $2,000 to start off your career. And then for those that did have loans and did have student debt, that he was going to cover one person's student debt of $50,000. He basically compiled all of the seniors, and need I mind you, I was told he did this 2 days in advance, where he had everybody like put all the graduating seniors in this spinning wheel, okay? And there was a video on Facebook that ORU actually posted, of this whole event, but I could not find it. I don't know if they took it down or I just couldn't find it. I don't know why, but, and no hard feelings if they did take it down. They did take it down, but here I am sharing you guys the story now. So they had all of the 50th anniversary seniors in this spin wheel, and they said the president's wife is going to pull out a name and you will come up onto the stage and receive your award. And this award, he called it the Jubilee Award. I remember sitting in my seat and I was just praying and I was just like, Lord, let somebody be blessed by this. Let somebody really truly be blessed and go away with this with a happy heart and know how faithful you are. And they spun the wheel and got the name out. They read my name. I was still in a state of shock when I walked onto the stage, and I'll show you a picture of me and the president with the award in my hand. But I was in such a state of shock, and I was so overjoyed and so happy that God had met my need of $50,000 of my debt to be covered. They pulled me aside and they were wanting to like interview me, but I was, like I said, I was in such a state of shock that I wasn't even able to get like words out, because this alone was a huge miracle. It was a huge miracle. That means I could come home. This is a testimony of how faithful my God is since my freshman year when I told him he was going to provide. I go home, everybody of course is congratulating me, and I'm still full of jitters and so much like I don't even know how to express it. I was so happy. A few days later, I get a call from the dean of the university. He basically calls me up and he says, we actually found one of your Facebook posts. The day I was talking to my mom, I posted, on Facebook saying, Lord, if you can cover all of my debt, I'd be forever grateful, right? So they found that post. And apparently what they told me was that before they even found this post, God had laid on the president's heart to cover not just the $50,000, but the entire debt. I had over $50,000 of debt that this woman, this girl, has over the amount that we had originally thought, so we want to provide and cover all of it. So the dean tells me this and says, we found your Facebook post. We were hoping that we can share it at the graduation commencement. So the ceremony, the president wanted to share my story, and he also wanted to share my Facebook post of God not only meeting my needs financially, but reassuring the president that what he felt in his heart to do, that God told him to do. God really spoke with him and told him to do this, and it was like a confirmation to him and the dean that this is all part of God's plan. It was amazing. It was just I didn't even know you guys found that post. They asked for permission to use the post for commencement. I'll come in, we'll have signed documentation saying that we're gonna cover all your debt. I did all of that, and commencement gets here. Graduation ceremony gets here. He shares my story, and I will put up my video of what happened at commencement that my friend had videotaped of what went down at commencement here for you guys to watch and to see how good God is.
At commencement, we decided to completely pay off one student's educational indebtedness with specially donated funds. I felt inspired to do this in order to give hope to all of our graduating students that God would help them and see them through. So a week ago this past Wednesday, the names of over 550 residential full-time undergrad students were put into a bin and mixed thoroughly. Our CFO, Neil Stenzel, took one name out, and the First Lady, my wife Lisa, read it aloud. The name chosen was Hope Way. Hope is a theater arts major and has been seeking God for. Last summer, she joined her department chair and one of the theater professors in a 3-hour prayer meeting for the entire theater department. Throughout the academic year, she was a spiritual leader and prayed passionately for her fellow students. She also prayed fervently regarding the debt load she would have at graduation. God heard her prayers and answered in a big way. Following Wednesday's announcement, we realized that Hope's situation exceeded the parameters we set for the drawing, but felt led to go ahead and pay off all of her indebtedness. After making this commitment, we discovered a Facebook post that Hope shared on the Friday before the drawing. The Facebook post from Hope said this, April 21st, 2017, Lord, if you want to bless me by covering all my loans, I'd be forever grateful. If the Holy Spirit could inspire a university president to pay off someone's debt, lead donors to agree, got the hand of a CFO to draw just the right name from 550, and then inspired the university to go beyond the limits and just pay it all for a young lady named Hope who was praying and believing that God is not going to let you down as you pray and believe. Can you imagine that the name of the person that was blessed in this way is Hope? I believe that this moment last Wednesday serves as an amazing prophetic statement to this Jubilee class. God wants you to know that in the space you now enter between this graduation and your ultimate graduation, He will be there. God will not fail you. You must never fail Him. You can always live with hope because God will always hear your cry. Amen.
It was so incredibly, incredibly amazing how God answered my prayers. If you want me to go, you're gonna pay the entire way. And He paid the entire thing. I was over $69,000 going to be in student loan debt. By God's faithfulness and my faith in Him and trusting in Him time and time and time again, like to see all of that happen and all of that come through for me, I had to share it with you guys. I had to get my story out there. I had to create this YouTube channel to inspire people. I had to create this YouTube channel not just for creativity. Of course, like I want to use YouTube for a lot more things than just, vlogs. I want to spread light through Jesus. Of course, I wanted to spread His good news, and I want to inspire people. Every video, I want to leave you guys with some sort of hope. I want you guys to know that there is a God above who is listening, who will meet your needs, even though you feel like He is not there. He's there. Yes, there were times where I felt like, where are you, God? Like, why haven't you come through financially? Boom, He would come through. People were like, oh, that's just coincidence. Your name was called, like the one name that was called, it was just coincidence. That wasn't God. If you knew I didn't want to go to college, and that's why I'm telling you now, I didn't want to go to college. And the only reason I went was because I made a deal with God. That if you want me to go and you want me to get this training, which I'm forever grateful for, you're gonna provide. You are going to pay for this. I don't ever encourage people to demand God to do something for them, but there has been so many testimonies of people telling God, like, show me you're real and I'll follow you. Like, show me that you can do this and I'll live for you. Do this for me and I will spend the rest of my days worshiping you or whatever. I've heard stories time and time again of people like telling God, like, do this and show yourself to me and I will come through with you. And God has come through every single time. You who don't believe in God, you don't believe in Jesus, or you're struggling with your faith, or you are a Christian and you didn't know that God still does miracles, or whatever the case may be, my job is to spread hope, spread light, spread His goodness and His joy, and his faithfulness and loyalty to us. I want strictly for you guys, leave my channel with some positive feedback. Hopefully I can continue to do this for you guys, and I am so excited for this journey. I mean, this happened back in May of 2017, but it is now 2019, and I really felt like it is time for me to step forth, share my story, share his light on social media, on YouTube, and instead of being scared of all the darkness in this world, all the bullying, both in person and through cyberbullying, I really believe that we could fight back with goodness. We can fight back with kindness. We can fight back with love. I want to fight back with love. So with all that, I wanted to let you guys know that I love every single one of you, and thank you so much for taking the time and watching this entire video. Go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a good one. Bye.